Chapter 8: Friends and Enemies. The largest church in the country is 3 blocks from my house. It's the Cathedral Church of St. John the Divine. The thing is huge, and one of the windows is made out of 10,000 pieces of stained glass. But here's the most amazing thing about the church. There are peacocks living in the parking lot. I kid you not. The peacocks' names are Phil, Jim, and yes, Harry. No, Harry wasn't named after me or Harry Houdini. He was named after a priest. Peacocks have been living at the church since the 1980s, when they were donated by the Bronx Zoo. Here's the church. And here's Phil. Sorry, the pictures aren't showing. Anyway, Zeke and I sometimes stop by to visit Phil, Jim, and Harry on our way home from school. They're not all that friendly. You're not supposed to feed them or touch them, but it's kind of cool to see peacocks running around in the middle of New York City. You want to come over tonight and hang out? Zeke asked, as we watched Phil and Jim trudge around the driveway. I can't, I told him. I gotta do something. It wasn't like me to be secretive around Zeke, but he had already told me he thought I was crazy to think that dead people can communicate with the living. I didn't want to tell him I couldn't go over to his house because I had an appointment to text with Harry Houdini again. I couldn't stop thinking about my text session the night before. Houdini had chosen me, of all the living people in the world, to communicate with. I had a delicious secret. I felt special. I wanted to share it with Zeke, but I was a little embarrassed. Don't tell me, Zeke said. You heard from your new BFF again, didn't you? Yeah, I admitted. I finally told Zeke about my chat with Houdini and how I became convinced that he was for real when he mentioned the creaky floorboard in my bedroom. I made Zeke promise not to blab it all over school. The last thing I needed was for kids to find out and start making fun of me. I told Zeke not to tell his parents. I probably shouldn't have even told him. Do you have the flip phone with you? Zeke asked me. Yup, I sure did. After my last session with Houdini, I had decided to carry the flip phone with me at all times. Who knew when Houdini might decide to get in touch with me? He said he was going to text that night, but what time zone was Houdini in? Do the spirits of the dead even have time zones? They're everywhere. They might not even know what day or night means. I patted my right back pocket, where I'd carefully stashed the phone. If I lost it, or if anything happened to it, that would be a disaster. No more conversations with Houdini. My phone was his link to our time. Are you going to let me meet Houdini? Zeke asked. I looked at him to see if he was putting me on. Maybe, I replied. After he and I get to know each other a little better, maybe. Did he say he's in heaven? Zeke asked. Is he in hell? Where do you think he is? I don't know, I told him. He told me he's everywhere, but we didn't get into much of that stuff. Maybe the next time I text with him. When will that be? Tonight, I told Zeke. That's why I can't hang out with you. It's okay. It didn't look like Zeke was okay. He looked a little hurt. Do you believe me? I asked him. You believe me, don't you? Zeke wouldn't give me a yes or no. He just shook his head sadly from side to side. I took that to mean no. I'm really not sure, dude, Zeke said. It's hard for me to believe in stuff I can't see with my own eyes. But let's say it really is Houdini. Why do you think he's communicating with you? He told me he wanted to know what happened in the world after he died, I told Zeke. But I think it's more than that. He must have a pretty important message he wants me to deliver. Either that, or he's just lonely. What do you think? You really want to know? Zeke asked. Yeah. I think you both have daddy issues, he told me. Oh, here we go. Zeke's mom is a psychologist, so naturally he thinks he knows what makes everybody tick. Let's hear it, I said. You don't have a dad, Zeke explained. You never knew your dad because he died when you were so young. So Houdini is a father figure to you. I snorted. And you think I'm crazy? I said. Hear me out, Zeke told me. Houdini and his wife never had children, right? So maybe he has baby issues. You're a child, so it fits. So it's like you're his new child and he's your new dad. It fits. That's my theory. That's ridiculous, I replied. Zeke has been my best friend for a long time. We like the same teams, the same bands. He and I were always in sync on most stuff, until now. I didn't want to lose his friendship, but I was feeling some anger bubbling up inside on both sides. You're just jealous, I told him. That's what I think. Jealous of what? Zeke asked. You're jealous of Houdini, I said. It bothers you that I'm spending time with him instead of with you. You're afraid he's my new best friend. Maybe he's your imaginary friend, Zeke replied. I wished Houdini would have texted me at that moment. Then Zeke would know I wasn't crazy. I'll tell you what else I think. I didn't tell Zeke this, but I think he feels guilty over what happened at the Freedom Tunnel. It was his idea to put the coins on the track. He feels he's responsible for me getting hurt that day and nearly dying. So if I suffered brain damage or went crazy after hitting my head on that railroad track, Zeke thinks it's his fault. But I'm not crazy. I'm not brain damaged. Houdini really did communicate with me. I'm not hallucinating. It really happened. I gotta go home, Zeke said abruptly. We didn't say goodbye. I watched him walk away without turning around. I spent a few minutes watching the peacocks, but it wasn't that much fun without Zeke, so I decided to leave too. To get home from St. John the Divine, I either walk to the front and go down 110th Street, or walk out to the back and go through Morningside Park, which is faster and prettier. I decided to go through the park. It was a mistake. There's a really long staircase that goes down into Morningside Park. This is what it looks like. It's 155 steps. Yeah, I counted them. I was somewhere in the middle when I heard my name. Hey, Mancini! I knew who it was. Simon Foster, that jerk in my school who's been picking on me ever since we were in second grade. I don't know what Simon's problem is. He probably has a bad home situation or something. But hey, my dad died when I was 2. I had a bad home situation, and I didn't become a jerk like Simon. He came out of the bushes at the side of the stairs, as if he'd been hiding there waiting for me. He blocked my way. I couldn't go past him. If I tried to run back up the steps, he would tackle me from behind. I glanced left and right quickly. There had to be somebody else around who would see this. It's a busy park. But no. Simon always made sure of that. Bullies always manage to get you when you're alone. Why couldn't this have happened 5 minutes before? Simon never would have messed with me if Zeke had been around. It would have been 2 against 1. Simon probably saw Zeke come down the stairs and figured I'd be heading home the same way. I thought that maybe if I didn't make eye contact with Simon, he'd leave me alone. Wishful thinking. Well, 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 he said, a stupid smirk on his face. Simon is bigger than me. Not much bigger, but big enough to win a fight with me. Not that I know how to fight. When I was little, my mother suggested I take karate lessons. I talked her into letting me take a magic class instead. What do you want, Simon? I asked, knowing full well what he wanted. For starters, you could loan me $5, Simon replied. Loan him? Ha! As if I would ever see that money again. I don't have $5, I lied. I knew I had $20 in my pocket, because that's what I was prepared to pay for my cell phone charger, before the lady in the store gave it to me for free. But why should I give my money to Simon? Grown-ups are always telling us that we should stand up for ourselves. Simon had no right to take my money. All I find I keep? Simon asked. Oh, the classic, all I find I keep line. Bullies have been using that line for centuries, I bet. They make it seem like it's your fault that they're robbing you. Simon reached for my pants pocket and I slapped his hand away. That got him mad and he grabbed my hand. If I was really cool, I would have kneed him in the face when he leaned over to reach for my pocket. Then I would have jammed my elbow into the back of his head to make him fall forward, tumble back down the steps and beg for mercy when I'd come after him for more. But I'm not really cool. Get your hands off me, I shouted as he tried to get at my pocket with his other hand. So you do have $5, Simon said. I knew you were a liar, Mancini. Yeah, I'm a liar, so I guess he's entitled to take my money. I didn't care about the money. He could take my money, but I didn't want him to find my flip phone. What a dope I was to carry it around with me all day. I protected my right back pocket. Simon grabbed my arm and twisted it. He put his other hand over my mouth so I couldn't call for help. I struggled to get free, but he was too strong for me. Don't make this hard on yourself, Mancini, he said. It's just $5. Let go, I tried to shout. I stomped on his foot hard, and I guess that took him by surprise, because he released his grip on my arm. He wasn't used to me fighting back. I usually just give him the money. He was really mad now. He wrapped his right arm tightly around my chest and was grabbing at my back pockets. There must be something pretty valuable in here, or you wouldn't be fighting so hard, he mumbled into my ear. I tried to cover my right pocket with my hands, but he got to it first. He reached in and pulled out my flip phone. As soon as he got a look at it, he let go of me and doubled over, laughing. Are you kidding me? He said, barely able to control himself. This is what you were fighting for? Give it back, Simon, I shouted, pretending to be assertive. What are you going to do with this? He asked. Call the 1990s? Then he opened the phone and pretended to talk into it. Hello, 1990s, he asked. I have one of your cell phones. Do you need it back? Give it back, Simon, I shouted. Maybe I will, and maybe I won't, he said. Maybe if you give me the $5 I politely asked for, I'll give you back your antique phone. I thought about giving him the $5. I could just give him the money and he'd give me my phone back. What's the big deal? I was going to pay more than $5 for the phone charger anyways, but I couldn't do it this time. It was the principle of the thing. No, I said firmly, trying to snatch the phone out of his hand. He yanked it away. Okay, then nobody gets it, Simon said. He reared back and heaved the phone into the woods. No! I shouted. I desperately tried to follow the trajectory of the phone until it landed in some bushes. Then I ran off in that direction. Ha, Simon said. Play fetch, Mancini. Simon walked away, cackling the whole time like the jerk he is. I spent about half an hour searching through the bushes. It wasn't easy because the ground is really steep. Also, the sun was getting lower in the sky and it was starting to get dark out. I didn't think I would ever get my phone. But finally, miraculously, I kicked a clump of leaves and there it was. I grabbed it and tapped the power button. Thankfully, it turned on. End of the chapter.